Shalom. Let's shut the feed real quick. We're still lagging. All right, there you go. Let's see. Bear with me. We should be good. Why is it moving so slow? All right, Shalom. Before I get started, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, the great millstone who taught me this truth. Shalom to the hopeful elect. All right. Gonna get right into this thing. Bear with me. All right. News and prophecy. The internet will go down in a big way. All right. And I got that heading from one of these articles that I got put up here. We'll pull it out in a minute. Let's go ahead and get right into this thing. And I pray that this live lesson is edifying to the hopeful elect. All right. Bear with me. Okay. Let's see what we got. All right. So bringing this article back out again here. This is from theguardian.com. It says, could the internet go offline? Check that out. Right? It says, could the internet go offline inside the fragile system holding the modern world together? Right? It says, behind every meme and message is creaking decades-old infrastructure. Internet experts can think of scenarios that could bring it all crashing down. All right. And see, we've been warning you about this for a very long time through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, that this internet is soon to be cut forever. All right. This thing is getting ready to go down. All right. This is why it's important that you sincere Israelites, all right, that truly believe, to continue to repent. All right. And get all the edification that you can before it all goes down. All right, get all the videos, get all the edification, the camp videos, the sit downs, right? Get it all, man, because it's getting ready to go away soon, sooner than what we know. All right. This is the book of this is Sirach chapter 6, Ecclesiastes chapter 6. And let me jump down. All right, so this is the book of Sirach, or Ecclesiastes chapter 6 and verse 32. And it reads, it says, my son, if thou wilt, thou should be taught. And if thou wilt apply thy mind, thou should be prudent. Verse 33, if thou love to hear, thou shalt receive understanding. If thou wilt bow thine ear, thou should be wise. Verse 34, it says, stand in the multitude of the elders and cleave unto him that is wise. This is what I'm saying. So this is why you got to cleave unto the videos, man, the understanding that's going out amongst the body of the prophets, man, starting with elders and apostles and bishops on down, man. Okay. Stand in the multitude of the elders and cleave unto him that is wise. It says, be willing to hear every godly discourse. And really, that's the videos. All right, that's the content that's going out on a daily basis, man. That's the godly discourse that's going out to the believers. You see, it says, be willing to hear every godly discourse, and let not the parables of understanding escape thee. The point, verse 36, it says, if thou seest a man of understanding, get thee betimes unto him, and let thy foot wear the steps of his door. Exactly. So you got to get all you can get, man. Okay, because the Lord, again, he's getting ready to remove his spirit from this World Wide Web, man. Okay, they've been talking about these topics for a long time now, man. And before I get more into this topic of the famine of the word, You know, I personally believe in the spirit that, you know, a lot of this controversy that's surrounding the internet being cut off and all of that is because the small hat, the tiny tops are getting exposed. They're getting exposed to the core. Okay. I saw this some weeks back. This is from telegraph.co, uk.uk. It says the torture video shaking Israel to its core. All right. So you're finding out, and there's more information on it. You can look it up. But, you know, these people that they have, you know, prisoners of war, they're just dying. You know, all these people that they have in these detention centers, these camps, they're just dying, man. All right. They're doing, you know, they're just doing horrible types of methods to these people, you know, people are just dropping dead under the hands of these tiny hats, man. So it's a lot of outrage in the so-called, you know, international community. All right. But my point, again, let me pull this out too. And I got a video, right? I seen a few of these articles too. This one is from News Target. This came out back in November 5th, 2025. It says digital erasure. It says big tech bows to political pressure, wiping out Palestinian war crime documentation. You see that? So if you don't know, most of these, you know, tiny tops, they bought out social media, the TikTok, the Instagram, you know, the YouTube, all of that, man. So a lot of this stuff, again, as I was talking about, the controversy surrounding the internet being cut off, it's the tiny hats is behind that, man. Okay, they're putting that political pressure on these various, you know, social media companies to pretty much to try to clean up. Okay, because they're being exposed what they're doing to those people out there in Palestine and in Gaza, and how they're just, you know, destroying cities and hospitals, killing innocent children. I saw another topic or another article going into how they were using Palestinians to go out and get like landmines up the field, you know, sacrificing them, all types of shit, man. You know, they're killing the news reporters. There's just a lot of shit that these devils are doing that they're being called out on. All right, so they can no longer stand the heat, if you will, right? And I want to play this too. I saw this on the gram, right? And this is fair use, right? Before we play it, fair use, man. This is on YouTube. Check this out.
Israel controls America. Saying anything otherwise is absurd. It's counterfactual. How could, in the middle of a famine, forced famine, all of these dead children, 98% of our government is still kissing Israel's ass? It's pro-genocide. I accuse them of being deeply immoral scumbags. Oh, where's the money? Where's the money? Our politicians sicken me. And our media, oh, no. Oh, no. Congressional hearings on anti-Semitism. Protect the poor Israelis. The real problem is how you guys are offending the Israelis.
Yeah. Hey, this is that rising up. You know, as I talked about in the lesson that I did a couple of days ago. All right. You know, you got that clash that's getting ready to happen with the MAGAs. All right. The so-called pro right-wing American Edomites that now have come to that realization that the tiny tops control everything about America's, you know, system, the government, everything. All right. Real quick, let me get something real fast, because he was talking about the violence and the destruction. Bear with me. Man, this thing's super slow. All right, this is Psalm 58 and verse 1. All right, so this is the book in verse 2, which reads, it says, yea, in heart you work wickedness, ye weigh the violence of your hands in the earth, right? And these, starting with these tiny hats, all right, they have a great accountability of all the destruction that's going on throughout this planet Earth, man. All right, the famines, the plagues, the wars, All right, you find out that they're behind a lot of the wickedness that you see that's going on. All right, in the planet Earth, and this is why we're in a time of them being called out and the world beginning to stand up. So this just adds to my point before we go back to the video, right? With all of this exposure, all right, they're ready to just straight up, get rid of the internet, man, by any means necessary. They need to control the narrative of what's going out about them, man. All right, so this shows us again that concerning the World Wide Web, hey, this shit is almost over, right?
No, the politicians, they're not crooks. They're not. Ignore the AIPAC money. If you say AIPAC money, oh, that's it. You're hateful. You know to shut up. Lie on behalf of Israel. You have to lie on behalf of Israel. That's what mainstream media says. If you work at mainstream media and you still haven't called it a genocide, you're a coward. You're a sniveling, immoral, deeply evil coward. I'm sick of the people in power in this country using it to abuse people. They never help us. They never help us. We've given Israel $310 billion. And then Israel comes and says, you owe us. You owe us. Are you kidding me? We don't owe you a goddamn thing. We should cut off Israel. They're not an ally. Let's be clear about it. No one has gotten us in more trouble. No one has caused more harm. No one has caused more wars in my lifetime than Israel. Israel is not our ally. At this point, they are our enemy. They take money from us. They incriminate us to the whole world. They implicate us in their immoral war crimes. No one has hurt this country more than Israel has. Israel is our top enemy. Enemy! Cut off the goddamn funding. You're taking my money to murder Palestinian children. You goddamn racist. That's how I feel about it. Young Turks. Israel controls America. Saying anything otherwise is absurd.
So
it's counterfactual. How could in the middle of a famine, forced famine, all of these dead children, 98% of our government is still kissing Israel's ass? It's pro-genocide. I accuse them. I accuse them of being deeply immoral scumbags. Oh, where's the money? Where's the money? Our politicians sicken me.
Bear with me, man. This thing is tripping. All right, Salaki about that. I don't know what the hell's going on. But hey, that video that we just saw here has been the main talking points for a lot of these so-called right-wing podcasts, So so everybody's talking about who the problem of the earth actually is. So like I said, this is contributing again to that famine of the word. All right. They got at this point, they got to go ahead and wipe this thing out. Because all of this stuff that's being talked about is going to be branded under the anti, you know what. All right. So let's go on and play some more in Salaki about the feed. It's just super slow right now. But anyway, can't let that throw me off. So let's get back into the famine of the word, Okay, so this is from NBC News, right? It says severe internet outages keep happening and they might get worse, right? Growing reliance on a handful of major internet infrastructure companies has led to major disruptions, sparking everything from political pressure to computer science memes. All right, let's play a little bit of that. Let's see this player. There we go. Bear with me.
From United Airlines to Apple to Slack, a long list of companies all going dark for
Canva is down. Adobe.
I'm gonna start it over. I'm gonna go back to the beginning. All right, there we go.
From United Airlines to Apple to Slack, a long list of companies all going dark for periods of time today amid a massive worldwide outage.
Canva is down. Adobe Express is also experiencing some problems.
A global debacle traced back to one company, Amazon. Not the company's e-commerce business, but its cloud services, responsible for hosting the data of some of the largest companies in the world. From Snapchat,
guys, what is going on with Snapchat?
to Venmo.
Money is in there, but Venmo is down.
Students left in the dark as classroom software went down. Small businesses like the True Grit Cafe in Colorado having to take it back to pen and paper to take orders.
We're taking handwritten credit card information down and hope that we don't transpose it numbers that way.
Worry that this is going to impact at least your bottom line for sales today?
Absolutely.
It even impacted Amazon's own e-commerce site.
When we put all of our eggs in a few very large baskets, we have the potential for something like today's outage to happen.
The trouble.
Come on, man. All right.
Began overnight with Amazon acknowledging.
When we put all of our eggs in a few very large baskets, we have the potential for something like today's outage to happen.
The trouble began overnight with Amazon acknowledging increased error rates. By early morning, the company claimed that the issue had been fully mitigated, but by midday, Amazon said that customers still continue to experience increased error rates. Experts say it doesn't look like a hack.
When the source is quickly and easily discovered, it usually points to an accident or a misconfiguration rather than some type of attack.
Brian joins us now live in studio. Brian, when people think Amazon, they think shopping. They know it's massive, but AWS is also huge.
Yeah, and by the way, Amazon does say that they expect to have this issue with a full recovery this evening. Down Detector is a site that actually tracks how many issues there might be on a given website, and they say that there were 11 million plus reports.
God damn. All right, let's try it again. Almost there. All right.
In addition to over 2,500 companies that were impacted. So the question of scale, it shows that combined with that Microsoft CrowdStrike issue, you remember last year, it just shows how fragile this global IT system is.
All right, Brian Chung on this tonight. Brian, we thank you for that.
There you go. All right. And another aspect of the internet about to be up out of here, man. All right. Let's get this one too. All right. Here's another add-on, right? This is from HuffPost. This came out yesterday. It says experts warn the internet will go down in a big way. See? So the writing's on the wall, man. Hey, the folly that goes out on this World Wide Web on a daily basis, it has to come to an end, man. All right. Experts warn the internet will go down in a big way, and you better be ready. All right. And society is not prepared for that, man. Imagine when that day happens of how people are going to be, how they're going to act. Okay. Because that's going to affect everything, man. The economy, all of that, man. Okay. A time like no other, as the scriptures say. Right. It says, read this article now. You won't be able to if your internet is down. Right. So reading on here, it says another major outage disrupted the internet earlier this week. It says when San Francisco-based Cloudflare down ChatGPT, social media platform X, transit infrastructure, and other prominent internet services. It says it's bad enough when the internet goes down for a few hours because your power went out after a storm. But what if the internet went down indefinitely? See? But what if the internet went down indefinitely, sort of everywhere? What if your state or your entire region of the country lacked the internet or electricity because of a cyber attack or something innocuous like problems with an aging grid, or the federal government forgot to pay a bill? Do you have a plan for that? All right. So they're letting you know. Okay, this shit about to go. It says most people don't. In fact, the Federal Emergency Management Agency surveyed 7,525 Americans for their 2024 report on disaster preparedness. And this is from FEMA, by the way. And found that 57% of the country isn't prepared for or isn't planning to prepare for a disaster. All right. So the scriptures talk about the day of the Lord shall come as a thief in the night. People are not prepared. People don't expect a power grid failure, the internet to go down. Okay, a cyber attack. People don't expect that. All right. But those that are in the know, those that have true prudence when it comes to the scriptures, when it comes to prophecy, we know this is going to happen. Okay. It says that's a shame. It says that's a shame because an internet or electric type of emergency is likely to occur one of these days, right? Remember, they're showing you, we telling you, right? It says that's a shame because an internet or electric type of emergency is likely to occur one of these days, said Robert Ciliano, a security analyst and the author of, quote, Identity Theft Privacy, Security Protection and Fraud Prevention. He says, I don't think it's a matter of if, it is simply a matter of when. The electrical grid as we know it is only about 120 years old. And it's scattered in such a way that local or regional brownouts or total failure often. He says, how you say his name? Celiciano added, having backup food, water, batteries, and power should be a consideration for everyone. The term prepper has gotten a bad rap. He said that if you want to function in the event of a regional or nationwide electric or internet outage, quote, I think at this point, the strategies is at the bottom. We ain't got to read that. But the point is, again, all right, hey, the internet is about to be out of here, man. Jake, you better stop playing, right? Isaiah 55 in verse 6, it says, seek ye the Lord, Yahweh Shemel Shai, while he may be found. Okay? While he may be found, because the Lord's presence is where? It's all over the web. It's all over the internet, man. The hundreds, the thousands of videos that go up daily, weekly, monthly. Okay? The true prophets on the highways and hedges all over the cities, all over America, all over the world. Okay? You people out there, you still have access, but we're coming into the time where you no longer are going to have that access, right? This is why I said, seek ye the Lord, Yahweh Shemel Shai, while he may be found, because he's not always going to be there. Call ye upon him while he is near, right? Let the wicked forsake his way, and the unrighteous man his thoughts. This is talking about you wicked Israelites out there, man. Okay, because hey, at this point in time in prophecy, this truth has got a lot of exposure, man. A whole lot of exposure. All these different platforms that the truth has been exposed to. All right, it's no excuse for Jake, man. All right, all the mockery, the scoffing videos, niggas on the internet doing plethora of videos of talking shit and mocking the truth, mocking the prophets, right? It's all that shit's coming to an end. Let the wicked forsake his way, and the unrighteous man his thoughts, and let him return unto the Lord, Yahweh Shemel Shai, and he will have mercy upon him to our power, for he will abundantly pardon. And we're all looking for the mercy of Yahweh Shemel Shai to be pardoned of our sins and iniquities, man. right? Sirach 5 and 7. Make no tarrying to turn to the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, and put not off from day to day. For suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, come forth, and in thy security thou shalt be destroyed and perish in the day of vengeance, right? So once that, as we go back, once this internet is done, hey, your security and comfort is out of there, man. Okay? The world depends on the internet. So when they take it away, that's it, man. All hell is going to break loose. Understand that, right? Amos 8 and 11. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord power, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor thirst for water, but of hearing the words of the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushai. And they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, and shall not find it, man. This is what we're saying. All right? It says, in that day, the fair virgins and the young men faint for thirst, man, because the living water is going to be cut off. Is the point, man. All right? Stop playing, Jake. Right? Romans 9 and 28, he will finish the work and cut it short in righteousness. Because a short work will the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushai make upon the earth, man. So at this point, again, what more can we tell you, man? All right, you got the internet getting ready to be cut off, cut down. You got the AI, all right, because you can't. I'm talking about this topic a lot, but you can't ignore the news that's out here about it, man. Right? Let's play this too. Right? This is from 10 News 9 days ago. It says experts warn artificial intelligence will lead to human extinction. Let's play this. All right.
It's a scary one. Two pioneers of artificial intelligence have sounded the doomsday alarm. They're warning that the extinction of humanity could be only a few years away. The authors of the best-selling book, If Anyone Builds It, Everyone Dies, says that as AI becomes smarter than humans, it could develop its own goals, deceive its creators, and gain power over us all. One of those authors has told a conference, unless governments act quickly, we are doomed.
I do not expect something actually smart to attack us with marching robot armies with glowing red eyes, where there could be a fun movie about us fighting them. I expect an actually smarter and uncaring entity will figure out strategies and technologies that can kill us quickly and reliably, and then kill us.
Michael Notel is an associate professor at the university.
And that's what these engineers have been saying. You know, they're talking about these different engineers, scientists are talking about how the AI, the machines are replicating themselves. You know, they speak in code that humans can't understand. All right. They're surpassing human consciousness. All of this stuff is out here, man. Right? Daniel 12 and 1. All right. Super slow. God damn. Here we go. Daniel 12 and 1. It says the time of the end. Daniel 12 and 1. And at that time shall Michael stand up. Shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time, thy people shall be delivered, everyone that should be found written in the book. Right. So again, a time is coming like no other, man. A time of trouble, man. All right. The AI, the robots that are sentient, that can think on their own. All right, these engineers talking about we're at the point of human extinction. Come on, man. This is prophecy. Let's finish it out.
University of Queensland and specialises in artificial intelligence, and he joins us from Brisbane. We just heard from one of the authors of the book, If Anyone Builds It, Everyone Dies. This is scary stuff. Is humanity actually staring down the abyss?
It is scary stuff, and I think there is a higher risk than anyone is willing to tolerate. So the people building AI themselves think there's between like a 2 and 25% chance that AI kills us all by the end of the century, meaning it's probably the most likely thing to kill my kids. And that's by the people building it themselves. And most of us, from our surveys that we've done, expect AI to be about as safe as airlines. And the number of deaths from that is an absolute fraction of the risk that seems to be imposed by artificial intelligence.
So what's it going to look like, Michael, if it starts to go against us?
The scary thing is that because it's smarter than us, we don't know. And that's exactly why it would be very difficult to control. So one analogy that they use in the book is if you play the world's best chess AI, I don't know how it's going to beat me. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I know that I'm going to lose. Not even the best humans can beat that AI. And so if we have an AI that is genuinely smarter than us, we don't know how it's going to beat us. But one of the things that they talk about in the book is that COVID showed us that we're very vulnerable to viruses, and viruses can get much more deadly than COVID. And so if you have anything that has any knowledge of biology, there is a pretty decent way to attack us there.
Is there a specific tipping point that you can see coming?
The thing that most people are worried about is when AI can start doing AI research. Because if AIs can make AIs smarter, then there'll be all of this pressure for the companies to use them to make their models better and better. It's the fastest way to get to something that's smarter than us is to have an AI that can help improve itself. The issue is that if you hand control to an AI, to its own development, then it can, if it goes even slightly off the rails and its values are even remotely detached from our own, then it'll be really hard to keep control as it starts to become more and more powerful.
It's funny, Elon Musk, before he went right off the charts, used to warn about all this kind of stuff. I mean, Australian and world societies are very good at putting rules around things, legislation, safeguards. How are we going on putting rules around AI?
There's no technology-specific regulation on AI, meaning like there's more rules on a sandwich shop that has food safety regulation than there are on OpenAI deploying models in Australia. One of the reasons why aviation is so safe is because there are rules and regulations. There's regulators, there's advisory groups, there's international coordination, and we don't have that with AI at the moment. And if you ask people, we've asked people recently, do you think the regulation's keeping up with the technology? And 3 out of 4 say that we're way behind.
You've highlighted that AI models are grown and not crafted. What do you mean by that? Does that mean a bigger risk for humans?
Yeah, so most software is crafted where each line is written deliberately by someone who knows what the instructions are doing. AI models aren't built like that. They write a piece of software where the model is trained off a whole bunch of data. And it makes it much more like raising a kid than crafting a piece of furniture, where you give it hopefully the right environment and hopefully the right stimulation and hopefully the right kid comes out at the end. But as we've seen from many examples this year, it's really unreliable. So you mentioned Elon Musk. He trained one of the world's biggest AIs recently, and a very minor change to the instructions that they gave, and it was professing itself as Hitler on the internet and talking about death to the Jews. And this is, one of the world's wealthiest and smartest people trying to control something. And this would not happen with a normal piece of software where you've coded everything in. But because we're just kind of trusting the model to learn the right things from the information that we give it, it makes it much less likely that we're going to get exactly what we want. And that's what creates the danger.
Well, Michael, it certainly is a worrying thing to think about. Thank you for your time today.
That's it, man. So the Lord is getting ready to use this left hand and turn it on Esau's ass, man. All right. And that's what's going on. And this is what has all these engineers and scientists shook. Okay. Thinking about that Sirach 39, right? Spirits created for vengeance, man. As we've been talking about it a lot lately. The AI is going to be the end of this place, man. All right. Sirach 39, Ecclesiastes chapter 39 and verse 28. It says, there be spirits that are created for vengeance, man. Okay. And these are those left-handed spirits that control the AI, this man's witchcraft and sorcery. Right? There be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of destruction, they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them, right? Because this is really the Lord's AI. Yahweh Shemel Shah is behind this spirit, if you will, man. And it's going to be used to take Esau down. right? One more point before we wrap it up. All right. Again, this all ties into the disaster that's coming, right? Chinese military, which the Chinese military is far ahead of America's military. But it says Chinese military now utilizing AI to prepare autonomous war machines. All right. I told y'all, man. All right. We read in Daniel 12, a time like no other. All right. The Lord's going to have to send down Michael the archangel. And this is how you know, again, that the Lord's going to raise the standard. The power is going to come. Okay. We're living in some heavy times, some heavy days, man. It says the global balance of power is shifting in plain sight, yet Western media refuses to acknowledge what is becoming increasingly obvious. China has achieved a technological breakthrough that threatens to rewrite the rules of international security and warfare. While American leaders spread fear about hypothetical spying from Chinese AI models, China's military is systematically deploying these same systems to power autonomous vehicles, drone swarms, and battlefield decision-making tools that could overwhelm Western defenses. See? Because it's written that Babylon's going to lose. All right? Again, this is prophecy playing out. It says the United States finds itself in a dangerous position, responding not with innovation, but with panic-driven tactics that reveal a fundamental misunderstanding of both the technology and the strategic landscape. Okay. It says key points: China's deep seek AI now outperforms human reasoning at a fraction of the cost of Western alternatives. Right. The People's Liberation Army is rapidly integrating DeepSeek into autonomous weapon systems and command infrastructure. It says Chinese defense contractors are building AI-powered robot dogs, drone swarms, and battlefield planning tools. It says the U.S. response has focused on smear campaigns and cyber attacks rather than technological competition, all right, because they don't have the power as them. China's move towards algorithmic sovereignty reduces dependence on Western technology. DeepSeek's efficiency allows deployment on smaller platforms like drones with limited power and capacity. All right, and it goes into the silence arms race, and the whole thing. All right, so this is where we at. You know, we'll leave it there, but hey, I just wanted to touch on the point that the internet is about to be up out of here, man. All right, time is running out. This truth, as we talk about, is time sensitive, man. All right. So again, a time like no other is coming. Be prepared, man. Shalom.